When do you guys go back to film the second season?
October.
Oh, you're not filming over the summer? Wow. Cool.
Maybe we'll have a Christmas special. Um, I only did 12 episodes. That's all. I did one season three, two season four, three season five, and six season six, and then I did both movies, which kind of
Hmm.
cemented it. But this, and just like that, it's the first time I've ever been a regular on a television series. I did Men in Trees on ABC, but two seasons of that, but I was recurring. So this is the first time it's been like year in, and so it feels better, it feels different, it feels great. Very happy about it. I was so happy with what I was very happy with the show as a whole. I was thrilled with what he wrote me, what he wrote for me, and I think it's going to be even better next year. So even though I don't know how, because he wrote me some funny shit. But yeah, it was a great time. It was a sad time. It was a turbulent time. Losing Willie was horrible, and so it was just a lot. It was a lot of, but we just kind of Sarah really took care of everybody. She was grieving herself, but I remember the day I came in, she really took care of me. So I came in like the day after that he passed. So yeah, but we just kept going, and you do what you can. And he might have had to write on the fly. There was a scene I got in the morning one morning when we knew he wasn't going to make it in, and it was changed from a scene from me and Willie to me and Sarah, and you just and I was being such a clown on the set that day, being funny, trying to keep everybody up, which is what you try to do.
During the original filming of Sex in the City, were you actually was your closest friend actually Kim Cattrall of The Women?
At the time, yeah, yeah, but she went to London a lot, and we just kind of, people grow apart. It's what
But I
happens.
don't even remember the two of you having scenes together. Like, how did you forge this friendship?
We did because it's not about what you're doing on screen. Sometimes it's about what. But I got along with all those girls. I would hang out with Sarah, and I would hang out with Cynthia. Directed me and my husband in a play, and
Yeah.
I've known her. I knew her the longest. Kristen lived in L.A., so I never really hung out with her, but I adore her. And this round, like working with Kristen and Sarah and Cynthia, it was amazing. It was to see everybody's growth as actors and as people. It was amazing. Like Kristen's just like, I remember my first day filming the new series. I was just so nervous. And Michael was saying everybody on their first day for this particular iteration of the show, they were horrified because the pressure and the stress, and I was terrified. But I remember Kristen just being right there, eye to eye with me when the camera was on me and I
Hmm.
was messing up my lines, and she was like, "You got this." I mean, I love her very much, and I love Sarah extremely. I just adore her, and I got to be put into her life in the show now, and now I'm in her life. Even though I look at it like I was married to Willie or Stanford for 11 years. We got married in 2010. So I was married to him for 11 years since we started filming the new one. So obviously I'm in her life. If they're best friends, doesn't mean I'm not close with her. But people have to be spoon fed, and you got to show them that, I'm in her life now too. So that is exciting. So now I'm in both their lives.
And you're getting a seat at the table, like at the diner. You're able to voice sort of
Yeah.
that outrageous Samantha, some of those lines that maybe where you need that perspective. It's so interesting to have it come through. It's so fresh.
Yeah. And some of the non-PC stuff, give it to me. I'll do it. So it was a thrill. So, and I think there'll be more for me and Sarah, and more for me and Kristen. And I think it's going to be, you know, exciting. And even Cynthia, I mean, in Miranda, like she's like at that scene at the table, she's like, let's celebrate. Let's just the Anthony's here. And like, there's a new thing going on. And, and I think it was episode the 6th episode of And Just Like That was a big episode for me. And it was the scene at the bakery and the dishwasher and the plastic surgeon, that whole thing. Cynthia directed that episode, and it was awesome to work with her. You know, and it's like, it's either her or like, and Michael Patrick King is there all the time anyway. Mm-hmm. But when he's not there, I'm like, why weren't you there? I remember my last scene when I'm telling Rock to learn her lines for the bas mitzvah, mm-hmm. you know, get on with it. Mm-hmm. How I wanted to play Sky Masterson, but sissies can't be gangsters. I remember that scene, and he wasn't there for that because he was editing. You know, he wears a million hats. I was just like, this is my last day here. He's not here. And then I left that day thinking, oh. And the director was lovely too. She was terrific. But you never, you know, when people don't say much to you, you just think, I sucked. You know, they're just like, oh, we'll just use that. It's good enough. You know, you think that in your head. And then I just didn't think it was good. And then I watched it when it aired, and I was like, oh, that was a good scene. I was really happy with it. Yeah.
Now, Willie Garson, I mean, there's a few things I want to talk about here. First of all, going back to Sex and the City, it is actually somewhat radical that they wound up casting yet another gay guy in the show. Because back then, in the 90s, you got one.
And he came first.
He was there he was there in the pilot.
Yeah, he was recurring too, but he was there a lot more. And he was Sarah's friend. He was Carrie's friend. So that's a lot more important, mm-hmm. I think, in the lineup. And then I came in the 3rd season. So yeah, I always say that I was lucky because there was another gay guy. Well, look, when Will and Grace went on to NBC, I remember I auditioned for it, and I just thought, this is never going to go. It's 2 homosexuals. Forget it. On network television, not because it wasn't good, because I thought it was great. But I'm like, this is not going to go. And it did.
Did you audition for Jack?
Yeah, I did. Matt Smuchik, who I went to college with, we both went to Emerson College. Yeah. But Sean, you know, there's nobody better than him when it comes to that. Sean Hayes, brilliant. So
how far did you get in the audition?
A callback. And I went in to see Max and talk with him and audition. Yeah.
And you just thought it wasn't going to go because who would do a show with 2 gay guys?
Who's good on network television, on NBC? But you know what James Burrows said about that show, who was the showrunner and the director? He said, he said, if the audience doesn't have a little bit of hope that Will and Grace are going to get together in some way, that it would never be running as long as it's been running. It would never fly. It was that for Middle America, they thought maybe.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, he was quoted in the paper saying that. And somewhere, yeah, in the papers. I certainly was born in 1872. It's in the paper.
Yeah. So Michael Patrick King clearly wrote this part for you. I mean, it almost seems like you're improvising, but I know that MPK does not allow improvising. Like, it really is what's on the page.
Yeah. I'll tell you, there's a few things here and there that he let me do, but mostly 90% of it is definitely his on the page. The first movie, there was a writer's strike and he couldn't rewrite. So he let me improvise a lot, and that was the most I ever improvised.
Either Sarah or Michael Patrick King had said that the Stanford Anthony storyline was going to be a lot bigger than it had ever previously been.
Yeah.
What was the storyline supposed to be?
I think it was just about our relationship and how crazy and nutty he still was, and how obsessive he still was, and the mistakes he would make, and I was the one that was going to be taking care of him more. And so, and I remember saying to Michael, when I had the bakery and I have these hot guys, and I'm like, obviously he's going to be having sex with these dudes in the kitchen, because that's how Anthony was. And he said, no. He goes, you don't shit where you eat. You've evolved. The thing is, you've evolved as a person. You're still blunt, you're still Anthony, but you've grown up. And Willie's character, Stanford, was still in his kind of nutty, hyper, kind of not knowing where he's going sometimes, and wanting to do things that were crazy, and I'd have to stop him. And Carrie was talking to me about, I mean, I never saw the script, but Carrie would come to me about, you gotta fix this. And so I was handling his shit. That's what it was. But I don't know what the plot line was. But I know that I was the one taking care of him emotionally and fixing things. And you saw a little of that at the funeral, at Big's funeral, where he was saying crazy things. And I was like, maybe you shouldn't say that. And, I wanted to say, he was the one he said, I wish I could have spoken. I was like, it's a funeral, not the moth. I mean, like,
right.
like please shut up. So I think it was going to go from there.
That's a funny line. It's a funeral, not the moth.
Every line he wrote for me is still,
yeah.
That stuff about worst dates that we ever had. I once shit myself on a date. And because my mother made me go out with the girl, and I was like, I ate ice cream, and 10 minutes later, my shorts were filled with chocolate chip. And I was like, my body knew. That's so hilarious that my body knew that I wasn't into girls. And I shit my pants over it. It's hilarious.
As a comedian, what was your reaction to the world's outrageous response to the character of Che Diaz?
All I'm happy about is that I was received really well. I read everything. All comments on IG, I read it all. I flood myself. It's called flooding, so it doesn't affect you. Everyone, I got some shit too, but not a lot. But I can take it. I don't know what it's about. I think it's about change. People don't like change. People are so married to Sex and the City. They're so married to it and obsessed with it, thankfully, that I knew this was going to be all over the place as far as they're not going to like this. They're not going to like this. They, and people will ask me, well, how do you feel about the way they wrote Willie out? I'm like, you fucking write it. Actually, I love that scene between me and Sarah. I think it's simple. I think it's funny. I think it's good. I think it's sad. It's short. And you can't kill off another character. The big thing was thought about a while ago, killing him off. That happened a long time ago.
Well, that was supposed to be the plot of Sex and the City 3.
That was part of it, yeah. And I think some of the stuff that me and Willie were going to do was going to be in Sex and the City. I never read that screenplay. Don't even know.
You never read the script for Sex and the City 3?
Nope. Never read it. This is the thing about me, too. If I wanted to, I would. I could. I'd be like, Michael, I want to see it. I remember when our first table read of it, Just Like That, Michael said to me, so did they send you the scripts? And I said, no. He's like, they didn't send you to this. Michael, I'm good. I don't care. I will read it at the table with everybody else. I don't need to see. And if there's something I don't like in it, I don't go to Michael, can I see it? Can we talk about this? I don't do that shit. Who the fuck am I? I trust him with my life. I would walk into a room blindfolded with him. And there's even stuff he'll direct certain physical things. And I'm like, why is he making me do that? And then I see it and I go, oh, that's why. And I just, and I'm not an executive producer, Sarah is. Sarah's, she's a boss too, and it's her character. The show's about her mostly. So, and everything surrounds her. So yes, she has to be involved. Yes. But I think she also trusts Michael with her life too. And I think Cynthia and I think Kristen does. That's the way it is. But, I don't need to read them. I'll see them when I see them.